Shouting has paused several recent Duluth City Council meetings. There was debate tonight inside council chambers involving civility and the approach to meetings by both councilors and the public.
Northern News Now's Ella Schoberl was there, and Ella, it sounds like there's still a lot of disagreement from both sides.
Yeah, Laura and Dan, conversations around respect have been a huge topic at these past few meetings, amid meetings being interrupted with shouting. There was also a recess at tonight's meeting, not due to shouts at councilors, but to community members yelling at each other. While some agree with the councilors' calls for more respect, others say their anger is justified.
Emotions were high on Monday's Duluth City Council meeting. Public comment debating on previous meetings met with shouting. Some say their anger is justified.
It's a natural response to consistently feeling powerless, unheard, dismissed, and condescendingly talked down to.
Others say the focus should be on community.
It's about remembering that we can disagree without losing our humanity, without choosing, but we can choose to build instead of tear down.
A former city councilor also speaking during public comment, calling on councilors to invest more in the public.
Please spend less time trying to control the speech of the public, and please spend more time working with your colleagues to encourage a respectful, inclusive environment in our council chambers.
There were no shouts at tonight's meeting. Councilors saying that they hope these conversations lead to change.
And if there's one person in this room with a dissenting view, they have the right to still have a place that's safe for them to speak. So this has been a change, and I do appreciate that.
And at the end of the meeting, Mayor Reinert spoke, noting that all parties can strive to do better.
To support standards of speech and behavior that not only allow the council to function and conduct the business of city government, but also to reflect the values of our Duluth community.
Shouts at previous council meetings have mainly been around ICE resolutions. Tonight, there were multiple resolutions on the table on immigration enforcement. One was to urge the governor to enact an eviction moratorium for families impacted by Operation Metro Surge. It was tabled at last city council and failed tonight. Another resolution, which was passed, requested that the governor and state legislator allocate emergency financial assistance to those families. Lastly, an ordinance was also passed to amend Duluth City Code, clarifying the city's relationship to the federal government and immigration enforcement.